Yeah, Bridges Ministry, it's a recovery support group for men and women. And when I'm talking about recovery, I'm talking about recovery from like alcohol and other drugs, as well as behaviors. Something that one might be struggling with is, work, or maybe like overworking, overeating, over exercising. Maybe pornography is something someone's struggling with. And so Bridges Ministry is a recovery group for those that are struggling, whether it's a substance use disorder or something that where their behavior has just really, really just gotten in the way of their relationship with God.
I think my interest really stems from not just my own struggles dealing with addictive behaviors and such, but also family members and such. I think it's touched a lot of different areas in my life, and I know that support through recovery is probably one of the most important things, and adding the piece of doing it biblically just empowers it, just so much more, and it just makes it so much more meaningful, and I'm just hoping that I can offer that to other people.
I'm really excited to be able to help point people back to the source of where all their help is, and that's the Lord, and making sure that, we can help come alongside people in a way that incorporates the gospel.
Brian and I started talking about this ministry years ago. We have been through the recovery process together. I have experienced the recovery process as a child. And so it's something that was always really near and dear to our hearts, people who struggle in this way. And we felt pulled to do something for people that are walking this journey, personally or with family members. We weren't really sure what that looked like. We weren't really sure if we were ready for something like that, and so we took our time. We prayed a lot, and then when it became clearer in our minds what we wanted it to look like, through conversations, through prayer, through meeting of people, through the experience that Brian is getting through his professional career, we decided to jump in and start the ministry. It began as an idea, and it's formulated into this great group of people with a heart for God, with a heart for service, and with a heart for people in pain.
It really was born out of a personal experience with addiction. From a very young age, I just had this, desire, curiosity around alcohol, other drugs, things like that, and I used them from abused them from a very young age, and the way it kind of just perpetuated in my life became very destructive, where my relationships were affected, my health was affected, my finances were affected, and most important, my relationship with God was affected. And when I found, the moment I found healing was when I, fully submitted to God. And I started to understand a little bit more about this disease of addiction, and it was pretty clear to me what I was going to be doing. From that point on, I knew it was a pretty direct, the vision from God that I was going to be helping people in some capacity regarding addiction, and that's really how this idea was born, and I just feel grateful that we can provide this to not only our church community, but Lord willing, other people of the community in the North Denver metro area. Yeah. This kind of ministry, this kind of support group is for people that, like I mentioned earlier, that have struggled, or maybe even are now struggling with abuse and or addiction, dependence on not only substances, but also maladaptive behaviors that are really negatively impacting their lives, from a relational standpoint, from a work standpoint, from any really area of someone's life where these kinds of behaviors and these kinds of, just struggles are impacting them in such a way that they just can't manage their lives as effectively and as healthily as they used to.
As a facilitator of the group, I'd like to be able to support people that are coming in, making sure I'm pointing them back to the truth, making sure that they feel loved and that they get encouraged, and making sure that they can find grace, that we can be a person that they can be vulnerable with, because it's sometimes hard to face struggles, and just make sure that you have someone that you can come talk to and know they're not going to judge you.
I think we'll have some portions of it that will be Bible-based, where we will look through scriptures and we will see how those scriptures apply to our lives and how that's beneficial to us. But I also hope too that being transparent in our lives will allow other people to see what is possible through the gospel, and how just those things working together, what that recovery can look like for them.
So the mission, I think it sums it up really well in the mission that we came up with, and that is to promote recovery, discovery, and healing through authentic relationships with others and through the redemptive power of the gospel, because we personally feel that that is the way for improving your life, for improving your situation, for improving everything, is through understanding the gospel and leaning on God to help you through these things with your family, with yourself, and we've seen it personally in our own journey, and so we wanted to really bring it back to that.
Yeah, so kind of going back to the mission statement, authentic connection with others and the redemptive power of the gospel. So what someone can expect when they come to a Bridges group is a safe, non-judgmental space where their stories are honored and their stories are held in confidentiality, and there's no agenda or certain way to, we're not coming, when you arrive to a Bridges group, you're not coming to be fixed. You're coming to receive grace and understand yourself a little bit better, and understand what it looks like to battle through your recovery through the lens of the gospel, through a biblical lens. What does that mean? How do you kind of reconcile your struggles in addiction with what the Bible has to say about that? And I know sometimes that can be muddy. Sometimes that's very confusing. There's a lot of shame, and there's a lot of guilt around that, and we want to make sure that we send the message that Bridges Highland Baptist Church is a welcoming place for people that are struggling in whatever it is, and that they can find this place to be safe, to be a place to be vulnerable, which is hard, and a place to make connections with other people who genuinely care about them.